Good morning. I'm in the garden and we're towards the end of May. So I just wanted to give a little update on where the garden's at. Things have definitely taken off here in the last month, and it's kind of excited to see the greening of the garden. There's still a few empty beds, but those are just for succession plantings. So I just quick walk through and just tell you what we have. Here's the small hoop house. We just have a few tomatoes. These are our yellow tomatoes here that we usually do about a quarter, half of a row of yellows, and so we did 3 rows, another hoop house of tomatoes, and our half row of yellows in here. We have a first planting of beets that are just about ready. Our celery there is starting to size up. Our peppers are greening up now. We had lettuce in between there, and it always seems like they compete a little bit. But the lettuce is out now and the peppers are starting to take off, which is good. And so our big first planting of potatoes. So these in the last, potatoes grow like crazy. So the last week or two, so we have 4 varieties, but the last week or two they've really started to bush up. We'll be mulching these this week. And the mulching is just to protect the tubers from greening. So we have 4 varieties here. Got our black raspberries that are done flowering, starting to size up now. Those are definitely going to keep us busy this year. Here's our big hoop house. We got our second planting of beets next to tomatoes here. You see the tomatoes kind of grow above it. We just put these tomatoes in about 2 weeks ago. So they're really starting to flower now and take off growing. We got our first planting of kale, our carrots, which these are pretty much about ready to harvest now. Got our sugar snap peas. This variety here is a little earlier variety. It's starting to flower. These are a little bit later. They're not as bushy this year. I suspect because it's been so hot. See up there, it's a little bushy, but not down here. It may stay a little bit wetter down here. But I also think the heat has a big part. Down towards the end here, it gets the brunt of the wind. And we also had, I think, a rabbit come in and nibble a little bit. And here we have, so this is going to be succession plantings of carrots. This is planted out. It's not up yet. Then we have 1 row of potatoes here, and I do 1 row here because this is going to be pumpkins, and the pumpkins sprawl out, so I can get a harvest of potatoes. Potatoes are kind of a nice crop, I find, to put next to vining crops, especially if you get your potatoes in early. You can harvest them before your vining crops really take off. I'll show you here. This is our hedgerow, which is really filling in. You can hear all the purple martins going. The early morning is definitely an exciting time for them. If you get out here too early, they're not up yet. But yeah, once the sun starts breaking, they definitely start chirping and singing to each other. Here's our raspberry. So we pulled out part of a raspberry patch. We didn't like the variety that was here, so we ordered a new one. It's Heritage. We're gonna try that one. There's 5 starts here by these flags. So we'll see how those go. We got our hot peppers, okra, and down at the bottom, eggplant. Here we have, this is covered because we have a lot of our turnips and radishes under here. And moss will lay eggs on them if we don't protect them. So here we have, this is lettuce here. That's a red leaf, so it's hard to see. We'll do succession there. Then as we harvest this stuff, we'll come behind with lettuce. And here we have, so these were extra cabbage and broccoli plants from our plant sale. So we planted them in this bed there's some parsley planted in between. This was just put out less than a week ago, so they're still going through some transplant shock. Here you can see we have cucumbers protected. We protect them from the cucumber beetles. They're looking good. it's been a hot week, so I didn't know how those have been transplanted out for a week and a half now, and sometimes the heat can scorch them, but they seem like they're doing fine. Got lettuce under here. You can see the heads. There's salad greens down there in that section. And here we have our pickling cucumbers and then our zucchini. And here we got our garlic. You see the tips are starting to brown now, and that's because they're putting out scapes, which is about 2 weeks ahead of time. Well, maybe not 2, about 10 days ahead of time. And so from scaping, it takes about a month till they're ready to harvest. So their tips are browning because they're pretty much fully matured, and they're just working on sizing up the bulb. So the plant will slowly die over the next month. And so when the plant gets to about half brown, that's when we'll harvest. We got our strawberries that we've been picking. They've been doing good. We haven't had big die-offs like last year. We've had a few plants here and there. We had, when we did our tour about 2 weeks ago, it rained a bunch then, and then like a few days later, we weren't supposed to get rain, but for like half an hour, we got about 1 inch. It came down pretty quick and hard. And it seemed like after that, then a week after that, we were having some plants get root rot. But it seems like it's manageable right now. And the heat definitely does not help. That adds a lot of stress to the plants, and we've kind of made it through. It's supposed to be cooler now. So that's nice. We got carrots here, just coming up. Kind of see them. We got our mini sweet peppers in this row. Our beets in that row. Row cover came off a little bit, but we have them covered because of the leaf miner, and covering that's done really good in controlling them. We have our strawberries here that didn't really do much. We got them too late in the fall. They didn't have time to set down roots and size up big enough to put on fruit. So a lot of the plants are nice and healthy, but they didn't grow enough to initiate bud formation. So half of these plants didn't even put on berries. But it's an experiment that I want to do more of, because the strawberries in the hoop house, the plants stay so healthy, but doing that and kind of getting your starts ready is during a busy time of year, and it's just hard to put the time into it, I think, to really make it work. But here we have our early planting of potatoes. So the ones down at the bottom, the golds, those are probably gonna be ready here soon. Here we have onions, doing well. Then we have sweet potatoes planted in between. So these onions will, I don't know, in the next month start forming, and by then the potato vines will be starting to grow a little bit. These have already, I think these have grown a little bit. I just started planting probably about a week ago. Yeah, probably about a week ago. So it takes a while for the sweet potato vines to get rooted and start taking off. We've had nice hot weather for that, but so that's pretty much it for up front here. It's definitely filling out and making us busy. Until next time, eat well, live well.